Welcome back to the I Am More Than podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Wessel. I'm a former Miss Arizona USA professional model and founder of More Than Inc. Before we dive into the episode, please take a second to rate and review this podcast. It helps us so much. This week's amazing guest is a professional dancer, fitness instructor, and top 6 finalist for the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Swim Search. After suffering hair loss, she's taken control of her story and is on a mission to change the standard of beauty. She's proudly showing that bald is beautiful, and she's an inspiration to me and so many others. Please welcome Christie Valdiserri. I am so excited to have Christie here today. I remember meeting you vividly at Miami Swim Week last year. We were at a Sports Illustrated party for some reason, and you and I got talking, and I just remember being so captivated by you. Like, your personality is so welcoming, so warming, and you left an impression on me. So it's been really cool watching your journey unfold because I know how deserving of it you are. You're an incredible person.
Thank you, Jordan. That means a lot. I remember vividly when we met too. It's been so long.
And I don't even know how we got talking. We ran into each other at this party and it was like, hey, you want to be friends?
And we clicked right away. I know.
Right away. Well, for people that don't know your incredible story yet, let's start from the beginning. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and life prior to Sports Illustrated.
Okay, cool. So I am from Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is outside Philly. I live in Los Angeles now. About my story. So I went to Penn State and I was a dance major. And about 3 weeks after I graduated, and to give like a little glimpse into my life at college, I was in a fun sorority. I was dating an athlete. I felt like I had it all. And then 3 weeks after graduation, I found a little tiny bald patch on the top of my head. And I really was like, this is nothing. I'm sure it's from the sun or from pulling my hair up too tight. I kind of overlooked it, and I was like getting on to my professional career as a dancer. And I moved to New York City to do a program and to do a dance program. And then my hair is like continuously falling out, and I'm like freaking out, but also like don't believe that it's going to get to the point that I'm going to lose all of my hair. I really felt invincible. And so I'm in this dance program. I'm in like a toxic relationship at the time, and my hair's falling out. So I'm feeling like lost. And I was thinking that after you graduate college and you're like about to pursue your dream, it should be the best time of your life. And it didn't feel that way. So I figured it out to find a dermatologist in New York City. And I traveled all the way across to the east side and went into this dermatologist. And she was like shocked by the amount of hair that was falling out at this point. And I was scared and sad. And I was like, I don't care what it is. All I need is a cure to fix this right now. So she like threw around the word alopecia. And I had never heard of this before. And I was like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I need you to give me something so this stops falling out. Like my showers at the end of the day from dancing all day and traveling through New York City, which a shower should be something you really look forward to. That was the worst part of my day because I would have to face the reality of my hair falling out, and my drain is clogged and I'm crying, and it just progressed as the summer went on. Ended up getting steroid shots from the dermatologist, which I wouldn't do now because I don't believe in like external steroids and chemicals and drugs to fix this. I believe it's more like from my inside out. So anyway, I ended up getting it because I was hopeless and lost and needed an answer. So it started to grow in a little bit. It was manageable. Like I wasn't wearing a wig at the time. I could cover it up. But it was like destroying me inside. And again, I was in this relationship that I was trying to get out of at the time. And so finally I was pushed over the edge and I ended the relationship that I was in. And I was like, all right, it's time to live for me, put my energy on myself, put my energy into my dance career and make it happen. My hair was, again, manageable. I could hide it, so no one really knew. And I was like, all I want to do is book a cruise job. That's all I want. I grew up going on cruises with my family. That has always been my dream, to travel and dance and live on a ship. and have no rent and not pay for food. Like, it sounded so glamorous to me. That's
Oh
all,
yeah, it sounds amazing.
right? That's all I wanted. So I ended up booking a cruise job for 8 months. And I was like, wow, now my life is beginning. Like, my hair is kind of growing in. I just became single. I'm like putting my energy on myself. Like, alopecia is going to be in the past. It's going to be over with. I'm going to be on this cruise. I'm going to take this 8 months to heal myself, and everything's going to be good. That's like where I was at. And that's what I really believed was why I had booked this cruise gig, to heal myself and like get time away. And so it was like the best. I'm telling you, Jordan, like, it was the best time on this cruise. Like, I had the most amazing cast. The shows were so much fun. Like, I was on such a high. It was the best time. And then within 6 weeks of being on the ship, I was fired out of the blue because one man with way too much power said that I pulled attention and drew attention from the production, I guess. And he said that he wants me off the ship immediately before Oprah was coming on. So I got wind of this a Friday morning, and they had a flight out for me that night. And I was supposed to be on this ship until December, and it was June. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So I was going to be out of a job for 6 months, and I moved out of my apartment in New York. So I, of course, fought and went out with a bang that night. Like, I fought that whole day and was like, you guys are going to send me home and I have nowhere to go. I'm supposed to be on this for 6 more months. I have nowhere to go to. So they ended up pushing it till the next day. So we had a huge party that night. And that was the last time I got to see a lot of my friends. I still haven't seen them since.
Wow.
And then I was kicked off the next morning at 6:45 a.m.
That's unbelievable.
When I tell this story, people are really like, that's the truth. And I'm like, yeah, that's really what happened. And I remember being in the airport in Seattle. And again, my parents live in Philly. So I was flying across the country, and I have all 5 of my bags. And I remember laying on that airport floor and just losing it, like bawling my eyes out, like, how the hell did I get here? This is such a low moment, but I had to pick myself up and get on these 2 connecting flights and somehow make it back to Philly to go home to no plans, to nothing.
Yeah, to not know what the next chapter is.
Exactly.
Oh, there's so much of your story I want to dive into because I'm just mind blown how this all unfolded. And I can only imagine the internal battle you're going through this entire time because you finally feel like things are figured out.
Yeah.
And then like you said, one powerful man decides that he can just end your future plans.
I know. And that's what's so crazy, that one person had this much effect on how the next year of my life was going to go and how he made me feel. Regardless of firing someone for their whatever reason, it should never be, no one should ever be treated the way I was treated. And it all alluded to feeling like he was firing me because of my hair loss. And that's what we all got from it. And it felt very discriminatory. And yeah, but he never came out. Like, he never even talked to me. I called him, I emailed him, never heard back. He never even addressed me still to this day. But I believe
that's a coward move.
A total coward. And I'm way better off now. So
exactly. I'm happy to see how your story unfolded. Like, it's a good thing that it did happen the way that it happened, but it still doesn't make it better.
Right.
It doesn't make it right.
Right.
And I want to go into when you first moved to New York. So you moved there, you're all by yourself, you're trying to build this career with dancing. You talked about being in a toxic relationship. Do you think that, which, forgive my ignorance when it comes to alopecia, is it something that you're born with and then it acts up in your system at some point? Like, do you think it was stress induced?
Right.
How did this all unfold for you?
Oh, that's a good question, especially for people listening who know people with hair loss or know people with alopecia. Yeah. It is definitely, well, there's no answers. That's what drives me crazy. None of the medical world really has answers or cures or reasons for it. So I've kind of stopped doing the research because I'm trying to own and love my look as it is now. But
as you should.
Yeah. So it's definitely starts by stress. And my ex was cheating on me, and that the anxiety and the stress and the distrust and all of the emotions that come with that, I believe, is definitely what triggered the hair loss to start. And then, like I
Wow.
said, when I was fired from the cruise, within 3 weeks, my hair was completely gone. So it definitely is,
Wow.
yeah, it acts up definitely from stress.
Oh my gosh. And I want to dive into your toxic relationship a little bit because I do think that there's a lot of women that are going to be listening that are in that transition, just graduating. They're in a relationship. It's going from a college relationship to like a real world relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that so many women find themselves stuck in a toxic relationship that they're kind of looking for a way out, but they almost feel trapped. And I want to know, how did you build up the courage to be able to walk away from that and know that you need to focus on yourself and not pour any more energy into that relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't, a lot of times when I'm on interviews, I don't really dive into it, but I love that you're asking me because people, you're right.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Yeah. And a lot of people are, well, I am too, like a little scared to talk about it. But the more that it's talked about, the better and hopefully more helpful it can be to other women or other people out there.
Absolutely.
So, so it was my senior year and I found out he was cheating on me. And then I say this now, but I felt like I was young and dumb because I would never put up with it now. I went back, we like tried to work it out and I stayed with him. And for an entire year, we were trying to make it work. Of course, there was like a lot of tribulations and I had moved to New York and he was still at Penn State. But, for a whole year, I found out an actual year later that he was still cheating on me with the same girl.
Oh my
So it was
gosh.
like a year of a lie. And when I found that out, I was in New York and he was at Penn State and I lost my shit. Like I lost it. Like I was talking about a really low moment in the airport, but this was also another extremely low moment. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was horrible. And for people that are experiencing it, like no one should be having that much power and control over your happiness and over your health. But of course, like I was blinded by love. I was so in love with him, or so I thought. And I let my feelings, like for that whole year, I let my feelings kind of direct the way of my life rather than being like, yo, this something's up. So
Yeah.
I found out and I FaceTimed him and broke up with him over the phone. There's a lot more. Like he had gotten into a really bad accident a couple weeks prior, and I had gone there to be with him when he was like on his, not his deathbed, but he was in the hospital. He had had a brain aneurysm, and I was like there with him and
Oh,
his
wow.
family, and that was the last time I ever saw him. And then I broke up with him over FaceTime, and we never talked again. But I really believe that it was really hard. Like it was really hard to walk away from something that you've created a whole life with. I was with him
I'm
for like
sure.
3 years, but I really believe that my life has gotten like exceptionally better since leaving him and leaving that relationship and like finding myself and not letting someone else define who I am and like kind of like play a part in where my life was going to go. So as much as it sucks, like it's going to suck, obviously a heartbreak when you're in love and being having infidelity in that. But if you can like push through and know that you have your own back and that it's gonna eventually be okay, if you can actually like hit the pedal and move forward and not go back to it and not continue to like try to reach out and go back to that person, like it's gonna be okay. I'm living proof that it's gonna be okay.
That's such good advice because I think so many people are so scared of like the unknown if they do leave this chapter and go into another. And so much of your identity gets defined by your partner,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're in a young age and you don't understand your own worth.
And
So I think it's really impactful that you're saying that, like, no, you needed to find your own identity, not attribute your worth to that relationship. And since you were able to detach, like, look at all the opportunities you've been able
uh-huh.
to
Oh my God.
be presented.
I even say this sometimes to my roommate. Like, I would never live out in LA if I was still with him, because
Wow.
my whole life was back on the East Coast. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing that you said about people relating to like being in a college relationship and then going to the real world relationship. Like for me, that was like so different from what we had in college. And like I was in a sorority, he played football. Like it was like a fun, crazy, a ton of young people around us environment, like not as many worries. And then you go to the real world And it's such a different dynamic, I believe. And regardless if he was cheating on me or not, I think that whole transition from college to the real world can be very hard. And it's all about that time of finding yourself. And you need if you're going to have a partner, it needs to be someone that's nurturing you finding yourself.
Totally. And somebody that's making you better and also needs to work for your relationship just as hard as you're working for the relationship.
Yeah, so true.
And I think, right? Like you can't have one person giving everything where you don't even know if the other person's giving 50% of what they have.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, I think I'm sure it was a horrible situation when you first found out and walking away. I know that's heartbreak, but the transition from that, even going on to the cruise ship, I'm sure that felt super empowering. And how was your health during that process? Did you notice significant shifts in your stress levels and the way that you viewed yourself?
Well, I remember when I had ended it with my ex, my hair was like kind of growing in and it wasn't too bad. And then like 3 months later, I remember my hair falling out again and being like, why is this happening again? And then I was like, oh, it's from the stress of breaking up with him and like being alone and like going through all of that. So then when I booked the cruise, I was like, okay, this is literally happening to me. So I can heal myself. I can get away. I can do what I love. And it was my health at the time. I had some hair growing in, some hair falling. It wasn't by any means like to either extreme. Like it was just like manageable. That's the word I would use. I could hide it. It was manageable. No one really knew about it.
Wow. And that would be difficult to be internally struggling with something that you want to talk to other people about, but you also don't want them to label you, which I think that's the whole reason why I wanted to start this company, this podcast to begin with, because I think everybody has been defined by a label, whether it's somebody else gave it to them or they give it to themselves, and they're stuck behind that identity.
Yeah,
where it's like
crazy.
We're so multifaceted that you can't summarize anybody in 1 or 2 words, but somebody that's struggling with something that is taking up so much of their emotional energy, it's really hard to look past that.
I know,
So I'm sure that was a battle for you.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're so right that we are multifaceted, but it seems like that's not the way that we have been like grown up and around, and like it's internal struggles that you were saying, that is so real. Like I come across, when I was hiding under my blonde wig, came across bubbly, happy, like have it all. Like that's how I feel like people sometimes perceived me. But deep down, when I was not telling anyone and hiding under this wig, I was like killing myself inside because I was actually bald, but putting on this blonde wig to be the girl that I like used to know myself as.
Wow, that's powerful. That's really powerful. And what was that transition like for you then, going from feeling like you needed to hide to then suddenly being able to just embrace your beauty? Because you are beautiful and you never needed that to begin with. But I know that had to be a battle for you as well, because that's how we identify our own beauty.
Right. Especially as women, and especially as models, dancers, like in this industry. So
totally.
So when I got back from the cruise, when I was fired from the cruise, I gratefully had my parents' house to go back to. And I was there for a little bit trying to figure out like what my next move was. And within 3 weeks of being fired, my hair was completely gone. Again, like I said, from the stress. So something in me, it was like the most clear thing I've ever experienced. Something in me every day, I don't know what it was, but I just kept hearing like, Christie, you have to go to LA. You have to go to LA. I had been here one time in college I came out to like check out the dance scene, so I didn't know much, but I was like, I have to go to LA. So then I have no hair. I have no job. I have no apartment. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just book a one-way flight and go out there and see what's up. So I glued on a blonde wig, like literally Jordan glued it around the perimeter of my head.
Oh my gosh.
I slept, showered, worked out, danced, everything in this wig. I did not take it off. And I came out here, and like I said, I was trying to be Christie that I knew myself as in college. I was trying to put on this whole facade that I was still this bubbly blonde. And like a year or so went by, and actually right when I came out here, I met a girl who had also lost her hair. So she was bald as well, and she was wearing wigs. And we clicked instantly. And I was just talking to her. She's one of my best friends. And we have such a special connection because we both went through that at the same time. And now her
Wow.
hair's back. So she has her hair completely back and it's like such a cute little bob. But I remember her opening up about her story. And I remember saying, like, there's no way I could ever do that. Like, she posted a bald photo and shared what she had been through. And I remember that day being like, oh, that's amazing, but I can never do that. But I was watching her, witnessing her like grow into this like badass, powerful, confident, knew who she was woman, and her hair was growing back. So that's when it started that I was like, maybe I should open up about this and release this burden that was weighing me down. And maybe my hair will grow back. Maybe I can heal myself. So I started by telling people slowly, like, if somebody would ask me, like, oh, are you wearing a wig? Or, oh, are those extensions? Or, oh, your hair is awesome. Or whatever the comment was, one by one, I would be like, well, I'm wearing a wig. I lost all of my hair, but it's so personal to me. So please don't tell anybody. So, like, day by day, I would open up slowly to people. And
Wow.
always their reaction was, wow, you're so strong. Wow, that's so inspiring. It's so powerful. It was never like, oh God, what you look like bald, or like any negative comment ever. It was always very uplifting. And that helped me get to the point of opening up about it.
Oh, I'm sure. And were you scared when you were telling people that there was going to be this unacceptance, or were you shocked when people are telling you how strong you were, even when you weren't feeling strong?
I was definitely like all the thoughts that can go through your head. I was definitely
Yeah.
thinking like, oh my God, I'll never be accepted. I'll never find a new relationship. I'll never make my dance career happen. People are going to have this image of me. People are going to put this label on me. Like, and I really was scared of that. But
Yeah.
over time, as the more I talked about it, the more I opened up about it, the more I would like, uh, take it off and look at myself in the mirror, like the more I was just day by day, like it doesn't happen overnight that you're open up about something like, okay, I lost my hair. Now I'm bald. Okay, let's go on with life. It's a
Yeah.
journey, regardless of what you're going through. Like you got to do it on your own timeline. But I really believe doing like little baby steps day by day can help you get there. Like I have on my mirror in my bathroom and in my room, it says, you are beautiful. And I can see that every day because I'm always looking in the mirror. And I think like little stuff like that really helped me. Still
Wow.
does.
That's powerful. Affirmations like that
Hmm.
are very powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's amazing because as somebody from the outside that didn't know your entire journey, I remember after I had already met you, seeing you on the top 17 runway for Sports Illustrated and being like, that's my girl. I met her. Like, she's amazing. And then you ripped your wig off. And I can speak for every single person in that crowd. It was one of the most empowering, moving, unbelievable moments I've ever witnessed in my life.
Oh my God, Jordan,
And
you could make me
it,
tear up. Thank you. That
well,
was the
I think
best moment of my entire life. Entire life. That second that you saw was the best moment I've ever had. So
I
thanks for
could see
saying
it
that.
in your face.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why it was so empowering, because you took your own power back in that
Hmm.
moment. And I had no idea the struggles that you had faced or the battle that you had been going through.
Hmm.
I met you as Christie and I loved Christie.
Oh,
And then seeing that, it was like, wow, that girl's got a story and I got to be a part of it.
yeah.
And it's been really cool now watching you own your own beauty, and you're redefining the standard of beauty, which is amazing. I mean, we need to revamp the entire
Yeah,
industry to start seeing that there's multiple different ways of beauty.
exactly.
But since that moment for you, did you feel a transformation inside of you?
Oh my gosh, since the moment on the runway with SI, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I, for the first time in my whole life, well, I guess like my whole life, but the past 3 years that I had been going through this, that was the first time I felt celebrated for what I looked like and like um, accepted and not shamed or like this is a bad thing, this is a negative, this is a health condition. Like no, it was just like go out there and own it, show the world what you look like because it's fine that you look that way. Like it doesn't make you any different than the girl that has the long luscious blonde hair next to you. Like it makes no difference. And yeah, so my life from that moment, I feel I have such a different perspective on myself. Like that I still try really hard to some days, yes, I wear wigs all the time because I love wigs and I love that I can switch it up. But still, I every day try to look in myself in the mirror, like meet my own eyes in the mirror and try to see the beauty in my bald look and in my different look. Like I don't know if this will ever end, but I'm constantly trying to love the look. And ever since SI, I have had a completely different view on it, that it's actually badass. It's actually strong because it's insanely hard to do it. So it like shows strength, but it's also beautiful because it's different and it's a bold statement to have, as a woman in today's world, have a shaved, completely bald head.
Yeah, it is, but it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, like you're redefining this standard, which I think we desperately need as a culture. We need to be able to recognize that just because we don't all look the same doesn't mean that we're not all equally beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you're at the forefront of that. And like, you really should be proud of yourself because you are changing the way that we view beauty. And I think SI has always been at the forefront of
Mm-hmm.
bringing in different women from all different backgrounds, walks of life, what they look like, and celebrate that, which is really powerful. But let's rewind before Sports Illustrated, you had to submit yourself for the open call.
Right.
What was that like for you, being like, okay, I'm putting myself out there for thousands, maybe millions of people to see me?
Really?
Like, how did you prepare yourself mentally for that?
So I remember not the year I did it, the year prior, my friend had submitted, and that's when I was still hiding under my wig, but my hair was growing back underneath. And I remember thinking, like, I can't do this, like submit myself until my hair's all the way back. Like I have to wait because it was growing in and it was patchy and it was like thick and brown. But I was like, there's no way I could ever do that until my hair grows in. I really thought that. Then push forward a year ago, like almost to the day, all the hair that was growing in under the wig fell out of the blue. So I had changed my diet, was doing everything in my power, I felt like, to grow my hair back. And then it fell out of the blue. I woke up one day and it was all over my pillows and my sweatshirt and my bathroom and the shower. And I hid in my room for 12 days, cried about it, and was like, all right, that's it. I got to shave my head. So in April last year, I shaved my head again, took the power back. And then I was like, it's my time. I need to make a video, submit it to SI, take my wig off, make a statement, like do this for myself. And I just did it. Like I didn't question myself. Of course I was doubting in my head, but I just did it. I just hit up my friend and was like, let's go to the beach. We're making this video. I'm submitting myself. If I don't do this, I'm never going to do it. Let's go. So I didn't even give myself a time to like talk myself out of it. I just knew I had to do it.
You just did it.
Yeah.
Wow. I have goosebumps right now.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Thanks.
And once you started getting all this feedback and you hear from MJ and you're invited down for the casting, what's going through your mind? Were you even prepared for that to be a possibility?
What's going through my mind? Good question. I just knew that I had to do my best. I had to get the flight. I had to get there on time. I had to have a place to stay. I had to do my best. I had to show up as Christie Valdiserri on her best day. Like I just knew I had to go for it and give it my all. So I wasn't really like, I guess I was like, oh my God, this is happening. But I also was like, had my head in gear being like, all right, girl, get it together. You're about to show up and turn out and make it the best.
Hell yeah. And that's exactly what you did, because you're now in the top 6 and you shot for Sports Illustrated Swim how many months ago?
Yeah, 2 months ago now. Wow, time's flying in this quarantine.
Oh my God. Tell me all about it. How was it?
Oh my God, Jordan. It was the most amazing thing ever. So it was in Turks and Caicos. So I actually found out that I was top 6 the day after my birthday. My birthday is January 22nd, and I was in Hawaii with my best friend. And on the 23rd, they called me and told me. So you can only imagine how happy I was that day in Hawaii with a margarita in my hand by the pool with my best friend.
That's what dreams are made of right there.
Right. So as much as the low moments that I've shared, they're also like my high moments totally combat that and like make my story and my journey so worth it because of these really amazing moments that I've had.
Totally.
So
totally.
The shoot was in Turks and Caicos at the end of February, and it was amazing. Like I've been saying this since then, that week, it didn't feel for a second that like my bald look was a thing, or like was a difference, or was talked about. It was just me. Like you said, you just met Christie and you liked Christie, and that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'm sure you can relate to this, you don't always feel that way. You feel that people are like looking at your outside look and passing judgment, but to hear that and to feel the way I felt on the shoot, that it was just me, that is so refreshing. And I think if as a society, if more people are opening up and like just being who they are, it can be really fulfilling and rewarding as the person that's putting themselves out there. But for the whole week, it was just me. It wasn't about my hair loss. And it was the most amazing week. I was first to shoot, and I just felt so like empowered. Like I can wear this like tiny bathing suit, this skimpy bathing suit, and be in the ocean and have like 30 people that are all part of the prep for this shot. And I just felt badass and confident and celebrated.
That's amazing. I cannot wait to see these images because I know that you crushed it.
Thanks, girl.
Just so cool because your story, it's definitely nowhere near over, but it's cool knowing that within a 3-year period from being the girl that just got out of a relationship to then being fired from the cruise line to being able to have that moment, it's more than a victory story. You know, it's just showing that when you put yourself out there, when you go outside of your comfort zone, and when you believe in yourself despite self-doubt, amazing things can happen. Like you're living proof of that.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And the best things happen when you're out of your comfort zone, but you just got to get there. Like there's so many days that I still like, although I'm telling you my story and I'm talking about these amazing moments. I mean, it's still a lot of self-doubt, questioning, like, what is this person going to think? Am I going to be accepted? Oh my God, my eyebrows are now gone. Like it's 1,000 things still going through my head. And I'm sure a million people can relate to that, but pushing through that and putting yourself out there, that's when the magic happens.
Totally. And showing up even when you don't feel like it.
Wow, that's so true.
And I think that it's really cool to see somebody that's in your position right now to say like, hey, I'm still struggling.
Yeah.
Just because amazing things have happened doesn't mean that suddenly I'm confident every single day and that I don't still struggle with the exact same things.
So true. Yeah. The exterior things that we like get or accomplish in life doesn't always take away all the problems and all the insecurities, you know, even though sometimes we're like, oh, I need that next best thing and everything's going to be fine. But that's not the truth. There's always going to be life happening, and then the exterior things can come and go.
Totally. And I think I was so amazed when I had first moved to New York and I started opening up about my story a little bit and relating to these women that I viewed as better than, you know, they're my role models. They couldn't possibly understand what it was like to have these struggles. And it was so eye-opening for me to be like, just because you might be at a different level, you have more exposure in society, doesn't mean that you're immune to the difficulties that come with everyday life.
That's such a great point.
We all struggle despite what it may be, you know, like obviously we have different obstacles, but it doesn't mean that we can't relate to one another.
So true. Everybody has.
And you had brought up that you weren't big on trying to get steroid shots or injecting anything, that you were trying to do everything as natural as possible. And I do want to talk about health because I'm such a huge advocate that if you don't have your health, you really have nothing. So what has that process been like for you? What, are you on any type of holistic medicine? What does it look like for you to be able to maintain and be at your best?
Yeah. So like I said, I initially had gotten steroid shots because I was hopeless and lost and needed a quick answer. But since then, when all my hair fell out, I was like, all right, what do I need to do to, like, why is this happening? That's how I felt at the beginning. Why is this happening? Can everybody have hair? And why is my hair falling out and I have zero power over it, zero control over it? So I changed my diet. I feel like I did a lot of research about feeding myself like all nutrients. So I'm vegan and gluten-free, and I've been for about like 2 years now. Yeah, so I completely a plant-based diet, and then also gluten-free. And then I drink celery juice like it's my job. I have it right next to me right now. I drink it every morning to start my day. And for so long, like I said, my hair was growing back a year ago, and all of my energy was in what am I feeding myself? What am I putting in my body? And of course, that's still the case, but I can no longer like drive myself crazy about counting how much sugar or like calories. Not that I did that, but I was very like hyper aware of everything I was eating. Now I'm just vegan and gluten free, so I follow that, and I live in LA. So to be honest, it's a lot easier than it may sound because it's very accessible here.
Yeah.
But I just, I'm putting more energy now into loving my look rather than changing my look and trying to grow my hair back because, like I told you, for so long, I was trying everything. I didn't care about anything. All I wanted, I didn't care about dating. I didn't care about making money, booking jobs. I didn't care about that. All I wanted was my hair to grow back. And I can't live like that anymore. I just want, and then for it to just fall out. So that's why I'm like, okay, I can't put all of my energy and all my marbles into the same thing. I need to just try to love this look and accept it for what it is. And if I don't like it today, I'm going to put on a blonde wig. So I really believe that, like you're saying, if you have your health, you have everything. Like, I really believe that feeding your body, whatever it is, whatever works for you, feeding your body what it needs. And I also am a big advocate about getting my solid 8 hours of sleep. I really try to sleep 8 hours a night because I really believe that helps my brain function, my like being alert, being on, and just my health in general.
Oh, absolutely. And it helps your mental health more than anything.
That's so true.
And I do want to dive into mental health too, because I'm somebody that has always struggled with anxiety and had to kind of figure out what works for me to be able to get control of my anxiety as much as I can and identify when I'm struggling. Are you somebody that had ever struggled with mental health prior to the last 3 years growing up or in college or anything like that?
No, gratefully, no.
Wow.
It's definitely, I definitely have anxiety now to an extent, but it's definitely developed more these past 3 years. Gratefully, like I said, in college, I felt like I had it all. Like life was really great. But so the last 3 years, I've definitely struggled more with, I would say mental health. Yeah, some days I feel and it depends. Some days I do feel extremely down. And like you said, to identify that, I like how you worded that because I was kind of honestly feeling that way a little yesterday. I was feeling a little off. And I was just like, all right, just ride the day out. Don't like put pressure on yourself. I was, like you said, I was just kind of identifying like, all right, this is how the day is today. And then today I was like, I can't have that day again. And so I went for a run this morning to try to like start my day on a more positive note.
Which is amazing because I think that exactly what you just said, like identifying it and knowing that just because you can feel temporarily down doesn't mean that that's going to be the way that you feel past that point. You know, like it's a day, it came, it went, you sat with it, you allowed yourself to feel that way. And then the next day you try to take control in the way that you can take control. And I think a lot of people will put this label on themselves being like, well, I'm down, so I must just be depressed. Or I'm anxious, so that means that I must just have anxiety all the time. Where it's like, no, we're human beings.
Right.
And we're allowed to experience those emotions.
And so many people, like I love that the conversation is becoming more open nowadays, but so many people struggle with it. So we're all in it together. You know what I mean? Like we all can come together in that sense that we all feel these different feels, but not everybody wants to express that they feel these feels.
Totally. And I really do feel like when you stop trying to hide something, it no longer has power over you. But when you're hiding something, that's all you're thinking
quotable.
about.
Can you say that again?
What did I even say? When you hide things, it has power over you.
Oh my God, that's so true. I want to write that down.
And I think that applies to you too, and what you were saying in the beginning, when you were struggling in the very beginning of your hair loss and you were hiding it, feeling like that's something that other people are going to be able to hold over you.
Wow, I love that quote, Jordan. I'm saving that.
I really love that once you got to a point where you were like, hey, I'm just going to embrace this. You know, I might not understand what's going on in my own body, but I'm going to love myself exactly how I am, and I'm going to put myself out there. It's really cool to see how the universe responds to that and how things start happening.
Wow, you're right.
Because can you imagine if you tried to like be on that journey of loving yourself, but you still were hiding a big part of you,
Right.
none of this would have ever
Oh, you're giving me
happened.
chills. That's so true.
Like, I think that's why I'm so motivated and inspired by your story, is just because I see somebody that took control even when they didn't feel like they were ready.
Mhm.
And now it's like you have this platform and you're not pretending to be perfect. You're not pretending that you have it all
Right.
figured out. You're
That's
saying, no, I'm still struggling, but I'm here
uh-huh.
and I'm going to show up.
And that's how I feel. Like, this is the card of decks I was, or this is what's the saying? This is the deck I was dealt. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to just uh, do it the best I can, and what is authentic to me. You're sharing your struggles and like going for it is that you're never. I felt like you don't never wake up and it's just like a big sign that says, okay, you're ready. Like, I don't know if that ever is
totally.
like a day that it hits that you're ready. Like, when I shared my story, I picked a date, and it was in September when it was Alopecia Awareness Month, and I picked that date and I was like, okay, this is the date I'm doing it. Regardless of anything, I'm doing it on this date. And I think that I was so scared that morning when I woke up. So I don't know if it's ever like
Oh, I'm
you're
sure.
ready, but if you can just like do it and have the mindset of, I don't care what people think about me. I really don't care. And that comes with time and practice and like trying to actually live by that. But going for it that's what makes you ready if you just rip the Band-Aid off.
Totally. And I think it surprises yourself too when you go for something
Hmm.
when you're not ready, and knowing that you just did it. It's almost like, oh my gosh, okay, I did it. So obviously I have the power to do it. What else can I do?
Right. It,
Like, we put so much pressure on ourselves as a society to do things when we're ready and do things
uh-huh.
perfect, where that's not realistic. We're never going to be ready then.
Right. Never. There's no sign waking you up in the morning saying, today's the day, you know?
Big day.
But yeah, you're right.
So
When
what?
you open up about stuff, it really, it does feel fulfilling and rewarding to myself. Some days I'm like, wow, like I actually did that. And it makes me feel like confident and like, wow, I'm a badass that I did that. And everyone deserves to feel that way about themselves.
Yeah. Amen
Amen.
to that. Because everybody has a really powerful story, but if you choose to not own your story and you choose to
Right.
keep letting society label
Define it.
you
Yeah.
and feel like you're out of control, you can never take ownership of your own
Hmm.
life. And it's really cool being able to watch you do that and know that your story is just continuing. Who knows what's going to be in store for you over the next 6 months to a
Oh,
year.
thank you, Jordan.
And that's
Hmm.
exciting.
It is exciting.
So what do you think is next? I know you're dancing, you're teaching in LA, which is amazing. I wish I could move even close to as cool as you can. Like, you're amazing. But what do you see as the next chapter for you? What are you trying to achieve while you're out in LA?
Well, the next chapter. I just recently created a online community for women, girls, moms of daughters, all with hair loss. It's called the Valdiserri. So I'm working on that. I want to create,
I love
I
that.
want to create a space that anyone, any women, any girl or mom that is struggling with their hair falling out to know and to see me, and know that like it's all going to be okay and you can still live the life that you want to live regardless of what is happening to you. So that I've been
Wow.
working on, and I plan to continue to build that and host some events. Um, More
That's really
dancing,
cool.
hopefully, more work with SI. Yeah, it's a
That's so
yeah.
exciting.
I'm all about like manifesting. So this morning I like wrote something on my mirror that like manifesting what I want kind of thing, and I have like a vision board in my
Yeah.
room of a bunch of SI models from I made it prior to getting top 6. So I'm all about vision boards and manifesting things.
I love that. I think that there's real power
Me
in that.
too.
And actually saying what you want, seeing what you want, and also working towards what you
Right.
want. It needs to be at the forefront and a reminder so that every day that you do get up, it's like, okay, what am I doing this for?
True. Yeah. You're right. You could do all the manifesting and the vision boards, but you got to put the work in. You're right. And seeing
Exactly.
that every day helps you put the work in.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one piece that a lot of people are missing, because it's like, no, we need to like manifest and visualize it. But then people just think it's going to happen. Right. Where it's like, nobody's going to like come into your home and like do it for you.
Oh, right.
You know? So like, you just got to put that work in.
True.
And it's really cool being able to watch it then pay off and be like, okay, what's the next goal? You know, you can hold yourself accountable in that way. It's really cool. I feel like I could talk to you forever,
same.
But I
you could talk forever, girl.
But thank you again for coming. I appreciate
Jordan, thanks so much for having me. I love that you gave me this platform to open up about my struggles, and hopefully people listening can relate in some sense and know that they have the power in them to do what they need, to do what they want. They just got to go for it.
So there you have it. I hope you got just as much out of this episode as I did. If you took a second to rate and review the podcast, thank you so much. And remember, you are more than whatever label's been placed upon you. We'll see you next week.